सारे आले बिखरी हुई उम्मत एक किस्म के आज़ा की तरह है। मुसलमान अगर किसी मुल्क में नमाज छोड़ने वाले की नमाज के छोड़ने से मुतासिर नहीं हो रहा है तो समझ लो कि उम्मत की इज्तिमाइयत टूट चुकी है।
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Welcome back to our L2N podcast, London Nizamuddin. Today we'll be doing a segment of Hayatus Sahabah. Today's subject is about the power of Ikhlaas. Let's listen to Sheikh Saad, Hafidhahullah, and Hayatus Sahabah reading and his maqra.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. إخلاص النية في الجهاد في سبيل الله. وأخرج الإمام أحمد بسند حسن عن ابن عاص رضي الله عنه قال: بعث إلي النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال: خذ عليك ثيابك وسلاحك ثم أتني، فأتيته فقال: إني أريد أن أبعثك على جيش فيسلمك الله ويغنمك وأزعب لك من المال زعبة صالحة. قلت: يا رسول الله، ما أسلمت من أجل المال، بل أسلمت رغبة في الإسلام. قال: يا عمر، نعم المال الصالح للمرء الصالح كذا في الإصابة. وأخذ الحارس عن أبي البختري الطائي أن ناسا كانوا بالكوفة مع أبي المختار، يعني والد المختار بن أبي عبيد، حيث قتل بجسر أبي عبيد. قال: فقتلوا إلا رجلين حملا على العدو بأسيافهما فأخرجوا لهما فنجيا، أو ثلاثة فأتوا المدينة. فخرج عمر رضي الله عنه وهم قعود يذكرونهم، فقال عمر: عما قلتم لهم؟ قالوا: استغفرنا لهم ودعونا لهم. قال: لتحدثني بما قلتم لهم أو لتلقبن مني برحا؟ قالوا: إنا قلنا إنهم شهداء. قال: والذي لا إله غيره والذي بعث محمدا بالحق لا تقوم الساعة إلا بإذنه. لا تعلم نفس حية ماذا عند الله نفس ميتة إلا نبي الله، فإن الله غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه وما تأخر. والذي لا إله غيره والذي بعث محمدا بالحق والهدى لا تقوم الساعة إلا بإذنه. إن الرجل يقاتل رياء ويقاتل حمية ويقاتل يريد الدنيا ويقاتل يريد المال، وما للذي يقاتلون عند الله إلا ما في أنفسهم، كذا في كنز العمال. قال الحافظ ابن حجر: رجاله ثقات إلا أنه منقطع. انتهى. إمام عن مالك بن عوس بن الحدثان رضي الله عنه قال: تحدثنا بيننا عن سرية أصيبت في سبيل الله على عهد عمر رضي الله عنه، فقال قائلنا: عمال الله في سبيل الله وقع أجرهم على الله. وقال قائلنا: يبعثهم الله على ما أماتهم عليه. فقال عمر: أجل، والذي نفسي بيده ليبعثهم الله على ما أماتهم عليه. إن من الناس من يقاتل رياء وسمعة، ومنهم من يقاتل ينوي الدنيا، ومنهم من يلجمه القتال فلا يجد من ذلك بدا، ومنهم من يقاتل الصابع محتسبا، فأولئك هم الشهداء. مع أني لا أدري ما هو مفعول بي ولا بكم، غير أني أعلم أن صاحب هذا القبر، يعني محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم، قد غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه. وأخرج ابن نعيم بن حماد في الفتن عن ضمام عن عبد الله بن الزبير رضي الله عنهما أرسل إلى أمه أن الناس قد انفضوا عني وقد دعاني هؤلاء إلى الأمان، فقالت: إن خرجت لإحياء كتاب الله وسنة نبيه صلى الله عليه وسلم قمت أو مت على الحق، وإن كنت إنما خرجت على طلب الدنيا فلا خير فيك حيا ولا ميتا، كذا في الكنز.
My dear respected brother and listeners, in the chapter of Ikhlaas, there is something which is very paramount and very needed as well. And there is also a sign of Ikhlaas. That is, a mukhlis person, a sincere person, will have never have a claim upon his amal. A mukhlis person will have no claim for himself, but rather than that, a mukhlis, a sincere person, will be an ajiz person. And ajiz means that in every step, the mukhlis, the sincere person, is in need of the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the opposite is the riyah. The one who is doing riyah and showing off, he always claims and he always talks big all the time. He big talks and he claims, I will do this, I will do that. and I'm capable of this and this and that. But on the contrary, the mukhlis is ajiz, and he is hopeful of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all the time. So mukhlis is that person who never claims to be something that he's not, and he doesn't big talk about himself or others as well. But know this, that once the shaheed was brought from the battle of the field of fighting, and he was brought to the mother in the house, and the mother was crying and wiping away the dust from the forehead of her child. After wiping the dust, she says, "Oh my son, have glad tidings, congratulations, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you Jannat." The Prophet ﷺ heard this and caught her on that word, and he told her, "How do you know he's a Jannati? How do you know that he's entered into paradise? What knowledge did you receive that he is a Jannati for definite? And yet he participated in the battle of Uhud. Subhanallah. Do you realize that he might have talked la ya'ni while in the path of Allah, that thing which is not concerned him, and he was engaged in frivolous talk? Do you have any knowledge in that he may be indulged himself in that way? And look it upon ourselves, my brother and sisters. Forget about reaching the pinnacle of shahadat. In our own amal, how we conduct it, and how much frivolous and how much la'ayani things that we should not be talking about, we talk about, engage upon. May Allah save us. That is why it's become our mizaj, our habit, that whenever person passes away, then we make a big claim and say that this person was a righteous person, and this person so-and-so person was a righteous person, and he is elevated in such rank, and he is so high in rank as well. And it's certainty, we talk as well that Allah Ta'ala is forgiving that person. That is why being hopeful and having a claim as well, they are two opposite things. A person who is mustaghni, a person who does not need anything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he is independent except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He doesn't need any da'wah, he doesn't need any big talk, big claim. He needs the rahmat, he is hopeful of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala likes when his slave has high hopes upon the mercy of Allah ta'ala, not having big claims. No one can have claim upon any human being except the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And yet with certainty we can say regarding the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that Allah ta'ala has forgiven him from his sins, and this is mansus, this is from the Quran as well. Other than this, you cannot claim anyone that Allah ta'ala is forgiving that person. Allahu Akbar. Even that Sahaba who is part of the Ashar Mubashara, the 10 Sahabas who were given glad tidings of Jannat, even they cannot say that with certainty. They said when they were living that we cannot say that Allah Ta'ala will forgive us or not. That is why mukhlis person, we also should have high hopes in the mercy of Allah Ta'ala for ourselves and for others as well. But this is a sign of success as well. But don't do big claims. Don't talk big about yourself, big about others. And one of the signs of Ikhlaas is that when a person does a good deed with sincerity, that he should protect his deeds as well. And this is called istikhlas. That intention that you went out for that purpose, you go out for only for that purpose and nothing else. Be focused on that thing. Because the meaning of shaheed is not just being killed in the battlefield by the hands of the enemy. Because every maqtul or person who's being killed is not guaranteed to be a shaheed. Every maqtul is not a shaheed necessarily. Both have been killed, but the question is, did he gain the rank of martyrdom, shahadat, or was he just killed? What I'm trying to say is that the maqtul and shaheed, their connection, their only thing is common is they're being killed. But the one thing is that to be connected to the rank of shaheed is the intention, the key thing, the niyat. When we go in the path of Allah, how much niyat, how much difference of intentions that we have. One Jamaat went out in the path of Allah. They went to so-and-so country. One person came to me that asked me that Jamaat Sheikh is going out, and I'm going out, coincidentally I'm going out towards that same country. Please give me ijazah that I've gone to my intention, but my intention is to do tijarat. I want to do some business, some trading, and what I'm trying to ask you is that please give me permission that I will go for intention of business. After I finish my business, finish my business, conclude my business, then I will join up with the Jamaat. So he asked this, went to the Mashwara room with this permission, asking the Mashaykh. This was his opinion. He came to us with his opinion. I told him that, listen, I will tell you a story, then you think about what you're saying. You'll judge for yourself. The story was, Umar radiallahu anhu is saying regarding one person, that person is a maqtul, he's a one who killed, he's not a shaheed in reality. The Sahabas were astonished. Oh Amir al-Mu'mineen, this person was killed in the path of Allah, the enemies killed him in martyrdom, he should be in the rank of martyrdom. Sayyidina Umar said that you do not know. He went in the path of Allah with the intention of, with good intention as well, in the path of Allah, and inevitably he became shaheed, he got killed. But there was one catch. While he was in the path of Allah, he was strolling around the market, and he bought something that he thought to himself is cheap, is very cheap in this land. So he's thinking to himself that I will buy this item and I will sell it with a profit. So he bought this thing in the marketplace, and he sold it, with a profit as well. And whatever profit he received, he put it in the back of his saddle, and it was noticeable that this was the profit of his business. And then he went in the path of Allah and he became killed. That is why Sayyidina Umar said that this person is a maqtul, a person who's been killed, is not a shaheed in reality. Sahabas were astonished. How do you know this? Sayyidina Umar said, look at his camel, look at his the backside of his sawari, his camel. You could easily see the profit of whatever he transaction he made, and all the profit is in the back of the camel. That is why I say that connection of shahada, rank of shahada, is with the intention, and the foundation of every amal is the true intention, the sahih niyat. As the hadith says, innama a'malu bin niyat. Many people, you will see people who are doing good deeds and they claim that I have good intention. What is this? But yet the amal, the foundation of the amal is the niyat. How can a person's niyat, amal is wrong and niyat be right? So whoever's niyat is wrong, his amal is wrong as well. However the niyat is, that the amal will take place accordingly. Doesn't matter how generous you are spending in the path of Allah, how you become a shaheed, how you become killed in the path of Allah, how you do ilm and how you gain ilm, how you spread the ilm as well. Whatever amal of khair you do, the foundation is the niyat. While we go in the path of Allah, we have to rectify our own niyats. In the narration, Amr ibn As radiallahu anhu, he's saying that the Prophet ﷺ called me in his presence, and he told me to go to get your things ready and prepare your armor, prepare your sword, and for fighting in the path of Allah, so that I can send in the path of Allah. And I pray that Allah Ta'ala returns you safely and soundly, and with ghanimat as well, with the booty as well. On that, Amr ibn As is saying that I said to the Prophet of Allah, Ya Rasulullah, I accepted Islam not for dunya and not to gain any part of the dunya. For Allah, I did it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I embrace Islam because of Islam, not for other things. The Prophet ﷺ said to Umar, that wealth that comes to you without asking, without begging to others, without asking, this is a barakat, this is a sign of barakat, this is a sign from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is a blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In another narration, there were some people who were talking about such and such person who became shaheed in the path of Allah, and they were talking about him. Sayyidina Umar came to them, so Umar asked them, what are you doing sitting here? What are you talking about? They were saying that we were talking about so-and-so who became shaheed, and we are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his forgiveness. Sayyidina Umar said, no, you will tell me the truth. What were you talking about? Otherwise I will give you a severe punishment. Eventually they said that we were talking about how Allah Ta'ala elevated these people in the path of Allah, and they were shuhada, they were elevated as shaheed. Sayyidina Umar said that he made 3 oaths. He said, in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no living person can judge, can give a judgment upon the dead people, either they're forgiven or not. Not one living person can do that. ما تعلم نفس حية ماذا عند الله من نفس ميت. That no living being can make a judgment upon the person that just passed away, that Allah Ta'ala has forgiven that person or not. Except one person, the Prophet ﷺ, that Allah Ta'ala has made an announcement in the Quran. And then he made another qasam. A person will go in the path of Allah and being killed just for showing off, or another person goes in the path of Allah to fight the battle just for fame and just to be known to other amongst people, or another person goes on the path of Allah and fights the enemy just for his country's tribesmen or his own qawm, and none of these are accepted except that person who goes out for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and whose heart is clear and pure for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then Sayyidina Umar said that every person will be raised up on a day of judgment because of his niyat and his intention. Another person goes on the path of Allah, does all the effort and all the strength, all the blood, sweat and tears, because he's forced upon him. Someone forced upon him, he says majboor, and it's like a habit, it becomes a second habit towards him. And I have to do it because so and so is pressuring me. But that person who does it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah ta'ala will give him reward. These are the shuhadas in the path of Allah. And then after all of this, Umar said that I do not know about myself or yourself, or Allah ta'ala will deal with me in the day of judgment, except that person in this grave. And he pointing to the Prophet ﷺ's grave. Another narration, Abdullah ibn Zubair anhu, he wrote a letter to his mother Asma bint Unais radiallahu anha, that the enemies have done muhasara and surrounded him in Makkah. What would you advise me to do? The mother, who is the mother? Of course, the husband. Her husband was Talha radiallahu anhu. So what do you think? Sorry, it was Zubair radiallahu anhu. So what do you think? The mother was saying that if you have niyat for to establish the Quran, establish the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, establish the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then you have to be steadfast and put your feet firm on the ground for firm intention, and then die on the truth, die on haqq. And if you went out in the path of Allah for dunya, and just for dunya and fame and fortune, then your life is not blessed and your death is not blessed. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give me a new belief as well, and being steadfast in the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the iman of the Sahabas. Please like and subscribe to others and share with others as well. Until the next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.